You're insecure, you act insecure. People treat you accordingly, and it repeats again, and it repeats again, and it repeats again. You gotta learn how to break out of this. And you only break out of this by building yourself up and realizing who the fuck you are. Hey guys, welcome back to the Veda Mindset Podcast. So I just got this new mic, and I'm still trying to figure out how well it picks up my voice. I'm trying to figure out how far back I should sit, so bear with me as I learn all of these things. I mean, it definitely should be a step up from my last two videos, because the last two videos I was really trying to edit the audio by myself, and it just didn't turn out as amazing. So hopefully with this microphone, it's a lot easier for you guys to hear my voice. I also want to mention that I see people refrain from cursing in their podcasts, or I guess anything they put out on YouTube and whatnot. And I have no idea how I can refrain from cursing in my podcast episodes. I just feel like it's just the way I express myself. So if that affects the views, so be it. Okay, we're just gonna get straight into this topic now. How to become the most confident version of yourself. No bullshit, real advice. This is coming from someone who was so goddamn insecure. So I want to start off by saying there are two types of people who are very insecure. The first type are the people who are obviously insecure. These people obviously have a very low self-esteem. You can tell in the way they talk. You could tell in the way they carry themselves. You can tell in the way they don't accept compliments from you. They're not very expressive with their opinions. You can just tell in this person's energy, they have a very low self-esteem. They think very poorly of themselves. The other type of insecure people are the people who think they're attractive, who say that they're confident, who say that they're hot shit, but their behaviors say otherwise. These people pretend to be confident, but inside they're insecure as fuck. And I know that because I was that type of person. And then I'm sure there's other people that fall in between both of the types I just mentioned. I'm firstly going to talk about the second type of people that I mentioned, the people that I think that I resonate the most with. These are the people who say they're confident, they boast about how they think they're so pretty, they're always having people that are pursuing them, they talk, but their behaviors are so the opposite of everything they think that they're embodying. If you're that type of person, no shame. I was literally just like you, don't worry. So if you are like that type of person, I'm here to tell you, you can think you're pretty all you want. You can say how amazing and what a catch you are all you want. You can boast about how many people are pursuing you. You can say that you're hot shit, but people can see right through you. These types of people, all they do is talk. They ramble on about how confident they are and how they wouldn't let anyone fuck them over, but then the next week they're complaining to you about how the guy they're talking to is treating them like shit. Do you see how the behavior isn't matching their words? Like, if you're so confident in yourself, why are you constantly letting people treat you like garbage? So basically, if you're the second type of people, I resonate with you. I was there. I pretended like I was confident. I thought I truly was confident. I just didn't have the right idea of what confidence means. Confidence has nothing to do with how pretty you think you are, or how cool you think you are, or how many people are pursuing you. That is the most surface level version of what confidence is. There are guys that are like this too. They come off like they're so confident. They say they're hot shit, but here they are playing a bunch of games with women. They're toxic as shit, because inside they're little insecure babies who have not grown up yet and want so much attention. I'll take this opportunity to mention any guy that's playing games with you or is breadcrumbing you is not a high value guy. He is insecure as fuck, doesn't know how to communicate, and is using people for attention. These are little boys. These are not men. I know they look like men, but they're not. And this topic I'll save for a different video. But anyway, my interest in building confidence came from the fact that I kept getting treated like shit in my romantic life. I literally found myself in so many circumstances where I felt like I was settling for less constantly, that I was begging for the bare minimum, that I kept letting people mistreat me. So at that point, I was like, okay, clearly I have an issue if I keep getting into these circumstances. So how do I change? I want to change myself. I want to become extremely confident so people stop fucking with me. I'm honestly not surprised that my romantic life is what showed me how insecure I truly was, because you can tell a lot about a person's self-esteem by the way they handle their romantic life, by the way they handle their love life, by the people that they choose to spend their time on. So when I started gaining confidence in my love life, when I built my self-esteem up, this started branching out into every other area of my life, and then eventually I became a really confident person overall, not just in my love life. The first thing I did to become a more confident person is to stop being so easily impressed. The people who are easily impressed are so quick to put people on pedestals. They are so quick to attach themselves to anybody that gives them attention. And this is including friends. The people who are easily impressed have pretty low standards when it comes to relationships and friendships. And I mentioned how this works briefly in my last episode. People who are easily impressed are this way because they don't have a solid sense of self. Because if you truly had morals and values, aspirations and ambitions, you would not be easily impressed by anyone. You would not be easily impressed by the compliments they give you, by their status, by what they have. I used to be like that. My standards were super low, or I was easily infatuated by people. I was easily desiring people just because of what they had, what they looked like, or what compliments they gave me. The day I stopped being easily impressed was the day I realized who I truly was. I had to really get to know myself. I had to really establish my own values, my own morals, think highly of myself enough to up my standards. So when people come to me and compliment me or tell me what they have, or maybe they have a certain status, I genuinely couldn't give less of a fuck. I am impressed by who you are as a person, what is going on in your mind. That is how I keep my standards so high. Because I'm not just letting anyone walk in my life. I'm not becoming besties with just anybody. Because you need to be someone I admire. You need to be someone I look up to. Why do you deserve a spot in my life? Just because you called me pretty or you have status? No, I don't care about any of those things. And if you find yourself caring about those things, it's because you have no sense of how valuable you are. You don't believe you are valuable. So you need people in your life that are telling you you are valuable, or you need people with high status to make you feel like you are valuable. Because without them, you would feel unimportant. So learn how to stop being easily impressed. They have money, they have status, they think you're pretty, they're hot, they have followers. Who gives a fuck? Genuinely, who gives a fuck? If these are the things you care about, you really need to reassess what is important to you. Realize that it takes more than these external factors to get a spot in your life. Anyway, moving on to setting boundaries. The fastest way to have a low self-esteem is to not have any boundaries and be a people pleaser. When people cross the line with you, when people do something that is clearly disrespectful to you, you need to set a boundary. You need to tell them right there. I know it's scary and I know it causes you anxiety. It did the same thing for me. I used to have friends that would yell at me, and I literally just felt so shitty about myself that I didn't even defend myself. I looked up to these friends so much that I didn't want to lose their friendship, so I didn't defend myself when they treated me like shit. When you let people cross your boundaries and you don't defend yourself or say, hey, this is not okay, that is what perpetuates your low self-esteem and insecurities. You become a very insecure person when you operate this way. Learning how to set my boundaries was one of the biggest things that perpetuated my confidence mindset. I went from a person where people did not care if they stepped all over. People would look at me, see how outgoing and nice I was, and literally would treat me like shit. And I would just take it. Because I didn't know how to defend myself and I was scared. Nowadays, the people I have in my life know better than to even talk to me that way. And in the off chance that they do, you know I'm gonna sit there and say, do not talk to me like that if you still want a spot in my life. I've done it before. You can't let people treat you like shit and get away with it, especially the people that you call close friends or your romantic partner. I'm not telling you to yell back. That's not what I mean by defending yourself, because I also did that and that wasn't correct either. That was perpetuating my own toxic behavior. If you need to yell at someone to feel strong, you're a pussy. And that's the truth. I know that because I've operated that way as well. That is not respectable behavior. You do not need to yell at someone to defend yourself or get your point across. You can respectfully say, hey, do not talk to me like that ever again. And if that person doesn't sit there and reassess what they did and apologize, then you know who to take out of your life. My heart literally breaks for people who their close friends treat them poorly, where their close friends yell at them and insult them. What kind of friendship is that? I would love to slap some sense into your friends if your friends do that to you. I hate that about people because I've been there. Like, I've had friends who were so rude to me and it really destroyed my self-esteem. And I don't wish that for anyone. I really don't. So you gotta set boundaries with these people and make sure the people in your inner circle treat you with respect. So for the people pleasers, most people pleasers want to keep the peace or they want to be liked. They don't want people to have a bad perspective of them. So that's why they keep the peace, don't speak up, give people what they want. If you want to get out of being a people pleaser, you need to be okay with not being liked. Because the only way to be liked by everyone is to be a people pleaser and not have a real personality and never speak up for yourself. That is the only way to be liked by everyone. Being a people pleaser is just gonna get you closer to people who are manipulative and controlling. You're gonna come across people who will take advantage of you. Confident people are not people pleasers. They are okay with disappointing people. And that's a skill that you need to develop. I know it's hard. I've been there. But you need to become so sure of yourself. You need to like yourself so much that you literally do not care about what anybody else thinks of you. Because that's what being a people pleaser is doing. You care about people's perceptions of you. You care more about the happiness of everyone else around you over your own happiness. And that is where you're going wrong. And that is why you have a hard time becoming confident. The next thing that confident people do is they do not overextend themselves. When I was insecure, I was coming from a lot of desperation. I would reach out to friends who literally would not ever call me and not ever text me. I was always the one reaching out. I was letting men lead me on. People who are truly confident in themselves do not operate this way. If you have been the one constantly reaching out to someone and they have not once put an effort to meet you halfway, stop fucking texting them. Stop fucking overextending yourself, because you are lowering your own self-esteem and your own value by doing this. When you're operating this way, you're operating out of desperation. So when you're in this energy, you are repelling people, even if you don't know it. People who are genuinely confident from the inside are so magnetic. They are not desperate to reach people. They don't beg people. They do their part, and that is that. They expect equal amounts of effort. They are not doing all the work in their friendships and their relationships. If you find that people in your life are not putting as much effort in as you are, then you need to realize that there are other people who will find you valuable. So stop being desperate for those who are showing no effort. That actually falls into my next point. If you want to become more confident, you need to stop hanging out with insufferable people. When I started to become confident, I realized how many people I hung out with that were so insufferable, so insecure, and so toxic. And being around them was holding me back from this identity I wanted to establish. It was holding me back from all the growth I was trying to make. Because I was trying to grow, I was trying to become more confident and more self-assured. Meanwhile, I would hang out with women who would say all men are trash. They would get drunk every weekend. They engaged in such toxic behavior. They let people treat them like garbage. They talked shit about everybody. How the hell am I supposed to become confident while I'm hanging out with these people? I can't. I had to find friends that genuinely were confident, people that I could learn from, people that I wanted to be like. Because one of the biggest ways to find out you're with the wrong friends is if you don't want to be like them. If I tell you, wow, you remind me of, and I say your friend's name, is that going to feel like an insult to you or a compliment? And that should tell you right there, do you have the right friends? I realized that I wanted friends that I admired and people that inspired me and pushed me to be better, not friends that drew me back into my toxic behaviors and negative thought patterns. Because listen to this scenario. This is how hanging out with insecure friends is making you worse. If you hang out with your friend Jessica and she's sitting here telling you about all her bad experiences with men, she's telling you all guys are cheaters, you're gonna go back home and maybe your man doesn't answer you for an hour. Because of what your friend Jessica just said, now you're here thinking, oh my god, all men are cheaters, all these guys are cheaters, this guy's probably cheating on me, that's why he hasn't answered me. And that is how insecure friends are making you worse. You need confident friends. Because if you had confident friends, you wouldn't be so quick to think so negatively of people. You wouldn't be so quick to engage in toxic behaviors. You would make more mature decisions. Having confident friends forces you to grow. But when you're in an insecure position, when you have a low self-esteem, it feels more natural and easier for you to connect with other girls who are just like you, or other men, whoever's listening to this. Because hanging out with confident people is probably harder for you because they don't buy into your immature actions. They don't buy into your negative belief systems. They tell you how it is. They tell you when they think you're wrong. They challenge you to grow. So you need to have more confident friends if you want to become a more confident person. I promise you, the moment you get rid of your insufferable friends, your self-esteem will skyrocket. Your friends who are so insufferable are making you way more insecure. You become who you hang around. Hang around with people that you want to be like. Another thing I changed about myself to become more confident was that I stopped making impulsive decisions. Confident people think before they act. They genuinely take the time to assess how their decisions are going to affect them. People who are insecure and have a low self-esteem act on impulse. This is why insecure people aren't as respected, but confident people are highly respected. You know, you're at a party, you get drunk, and you start texting this guy that you really like who you know deep down is leading you on. You text him saying you want to hook up because you're so drunk and you like to make impulsive decisions in this state. And then the next day you wonder why you feel like shit about yourself and that you feel so insecure. Well, girl, it's because you keep making impulsive decisions. You gotta learn how to think before you act. Confident women, confident people in general, think before they do anything. I used to be so impulsive. I would just follow my emotions. No wonder why I was a wreck. No wonder why I had such a low self-esteem. Because I didn't think before I acted, which got me into really bad circumstances all the time. When you act with your emotions all the time, when you act so impulsively, it's so hard for people to take you seriously. People will have no respect for you if you operate like this. Who do you have respect for more? The person who is so impulsive, so emotionally charged, they make reckless decisions, or the person that thinks before they act, the person who means what they say, where they think logically before they do anything? Which person do you have more respect for? Obviously the second person. So maybe start acting like the second person. Another thing that confident people do is they keep their word. They do not break the promises they made to themselves. So let's say you choose to walk out of somebody's life, but here you are a week later trying to text them again. That is coming from an insecure identity. That is not how confident people act. You need to get to a point where you are keeping the promises you made to yourself. You need to trust the decisions you have made. Stop backtracking, because this is how people don't respect you. This is how people don't trust your words. This is why people don't take you seriously, and this is why you don't take yourself seriously. At the end of the day, you do all this talking, and then your behaviors say otherwise, which is why people know they can treat you poorly. Which is why you still stay in this insecure state. Because you think insecurely about yourself, you don't think you're worthy. People see that in the way you behave and the way that you don't stand to your word. So then they treat you accordingly to the way you think about yourself. Now this is how the cycle repeats. You're insecure, you act insecure. People treat you accordingly, and it repeats again, and it repeats again, and it repeats again. You gotta learn how to break out of this. And you only break out of this by building yourself up and realizing who the fuck you are. People are hoping that you don't realize who the fuck you are. People are betting on that you won't, because they want you to be submissive. They want you to let them manipulate you. They want you to stay being passive. They don't want you to see how amazing you truly are, because if you did, you would not be putting up with all the shit they're putting you through. One of the last ways to build more confidence is choosing your romantic partners better. Your love life is one of the biggest things that affects your self-esteem. It doesn't matter how much inner work you do. You could read all the books, listen to all the podcasts, fix your appearance, say you're confident, but if you're dating people who are treating you really poorly, you will never be able to become confident. Your love life is one of the biggest indicators of how you feel about yourself. If you are continuously dating people who are immature, treat you like shit, play games, lead you on, you will never be able to become a confident person, because it's just your behaviors aren't matching what you want to become. Confident people aren't in those predicaments. You gotta act, think, and behave like a confident person. When you change all of these things, when you truly become a confident person, people will treat you better. People will treat you with more respect. Being respected has nothing to do with how pretty you are or what status you have. It has to do with how you are internally and how you feel about yourself. If you are super insecure inside, you will continuously find yourself in situations where people are treating you less than. You gotta stop blaming the world. It really comes down to you. If you feel like you're in a place where you're super insecure inside, you don't have a solid sense of self, I promise you, you can change, because I've been you. I was there. I know exactly what it feels like to go from such an insecure person to the most confident person ever. The way my whole entire reality shifted, the way people treat me differently is insane. And it has all to do with the way I built myself up from the inside. It has nothing to do with appearance. It has nothing to do with status. It has everything to do with how you feel about yourself, how secure you are, how confident you are, how much you like yourself. When are you gonna realize that you have all the power within you to become the most confident version of yourself? This insecure version of you doesn't have to be your future. You can change. You can have a reality where people do treat you better. But the only way you're gonna get that is if you treat yourself better, if you establish boundaries, if you learn how to speak your truth, if you hang out with the right people and stop hanging out with insufferable people all the time, if you start staying true to your word, if you stop making impulsive decisions, these are the steps you need to take to become a more confident person. I'm sure you have seen people who are so respected. These people get romantic partners who treat them correctly. They have friends that are encouraging them and don't talk down on them. What is the difference between you and this person? What are they doing that you're not? It's the way they feel about themselves. It's the way they carry themselves. And you can have it too. The way people treat you is based on how you feel about yourself. And I'm not speaking about random people who treat you like shit because they are sad inside and you had no idea who that person was and they just mouthed off to you. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who are close to you. The people who are close to you treat you poorly because you treat yourself poorly. It's not just by chance, and it's not all the people's fault. Because I promise you, the same close friends or romantic partners you have that are treating you poorly, they would treat somebody else different. I promise you, if they come across a confident person who is super secure in themselves, who established boundaries, who spoke their truth, those same people would treat them with respect, or they wouldn't be in that person's life. It just comes down to you. I need you to wake up. I need you to stop blaming everybody else for mistreating you, and I need you to look within yourself and realize that if only you changed, everybody else's treatment towards you will change. To get out of an insecure identity, you have to develop a confident mindset. You have to think, behave, and communicate like a confident person does. So I'm gonna wrap up this episode here. I hope I didn't get too loud, and I hope this mic worked well. Hopefully this podcast audio comes out better than my last two. Make sure to leave a review on my podcast. Make sure to leave a like if you're listening to this on YouTube. And I will put my Instagram and my TikTok in the description. I hope you guys have an amazing day.